Hi, I'm Melanie from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is Adventures in Groceryland, Newbie Container Gardening Update number 2. It has been raining. I just feel like we've gotten so much rain this spring and summer, but it has been raining for 2 days straight, and I don't mean light rain. I mean torrential downpour rain where news outlets are reporting how many millimeters of rain have fallen in all different areas that are close to me because it's record-breaking rains, and the rain has not had the best beneficial effect on my plants. Some of them have survived okay, and some they're hanging on. Nothing is totally destroyed, but some of them are certainly, you can see the wear because of the heavy rain. Good news is we are supposed to be getting 2 days of really good sun tomorrow and the day after. So I have really good hope that the heavy rain plus that they will explode and just start growing much, much better than what we've seen in the last, say, week. Oh, and to note, the majority of the footage now that you are seeing, even though update number 1 was a week ago, the footage for this update is 2 weeks after the footage was taken from update number 1. And that's about going by. Remember my planter ladder and how nice I thought that looked there? I mentioned to the handsome one that we had this unusable to us space, very rocky, on the other side, and we kind of were talking about doing some more ladder planters, but I said to him, wouldn't it be great if we just had a little stand and we could prop the stand up against that big rock and it could stand here and we could get some of our existing plants off the ground. Anyways, I just heard a bunch of sawing and stuff yesterday, and I came out and said, what are you building out here? And he said, I'm building you that stand. So how freaking cool is this? And just like I thought, woo, it's propped up against the rock on the back with the big leg on the front. So we fit the table to the space. So exciting. Just look how nice that looks now. And from the water, it will look a lot nicer as well. Really happy. Garden's coming along. I pulled into Kent Building Supplies, and as I was driving to park, I saw this. Could not resist coming over here and taking a peek at what they had. The handsome one does not want me bringing home any other things, but we're just gonna have a little look. That's all, just a little look. This happened. It's not as bad as what it looks. I video chatted my mom, and they don't have their full garden in yet. I had gifted them a few leftovers that I had, but some of this stuff is for them. I told them I would 100% keep everything alive until we saw each other next. The mint is for me, and I did get 2 specialty tomatoes. At 50 cents, I couldn't resist these. Now, these are not all for me. Actually, only a minimal amount of these are for me. I called my mom right away, and so I had gifted her some plants. We gave them 4 squash, 2 tomatoes, and I think I gave her a pumpkin. I can't remember. But they were putting things in their garden, and I knew that they didn't have enough for the garden to be totally full. So I called her right away and said, you know, these are 50 cents. I'm going to be seeing you on the weekend. I'd be glad to pick some of these up for you and keep them alive until I see you. And I told her what there was there. So these early girls are for her. And let's see, what else have we got here? These Romas are for her, and they were in sad shape, those Romas. So just a little bit of water and a little bit in the sun, and even though they still are looking a bit haggard, they are so much better than when I first came home. So those are for her. The cucumbers, those are also for her. And I got for myself, so this is the first time I'm really thinking about succession planting. So I've heard people talk about it before, and that is when I plant things several weeks apart so that the harvest always isn't at the same time. And our celeries, which we've never grown before, the celeries are doing so well that I thought it would be really great to have more celery several weeks after I harvested mine. So one of these packages is for me and one is for my sister, since I told her we were growing celery and she thought that was just fantastic. So far for me, one celery. This is Graybeard. Hi, Graybeard. I did buy one more package of Swiss chard, and I'm just going to plant this. Graybeard, don't lick the deck, please. I am going to plant this in with the plant pot that I have, like the decoration. And this was a specialty kind of mint called mint strawberry, and I got 2 of those. I currently do have mint. But I'm going to plant this in a different area, separate, and it's a different kind of mint. And then we get to these. Okay. So I know we don't need any more tomatoes, but hear me out. I'm convincing you. Hear me out, friends. These are purple zebra tomatoes. These are cherry tomatoes. They are supposed to look like those in the picture. These were 50 cents a piece. I have never had purple zebra tomatoes. And I thought we can find a spot for these. The cherry tomatoes are not for preserving. So any of the cherry tomatoes I already have, they're just for eating. Just regular, fresh, old, everyday eating. So I am hoping that we'll get some of those, and then I will seed save. So this is a new strain, a different strain for me. And then, so these ones go in my pile. See, this is my little pile. Little. And not for me. See, it doesn't look as bad as initially you thought. And then there's these. Yeah. These are the yellow pear tomatoes. I have 2 of these already. I am going to keep a couple of these for myself, and I am going to give a couple of these to my folks. They have never had yellow tomatoes before. I've told them they taste the same, but they look really pretty when you're making a fresh salad and it's just a differential in the color. I love to have red tomatoes, orange tomatoes, and yellow tomatoes together in anything that I make. Anyway, see, it's not really so bad, is it? Not mine. Mine. A little bit for me, but a little bit not mine. I want to start with the asparagus this time because, as you can see, not this. This is the wandering onion. See how it fell over and that's going to seed there? I have more asparagus canes or stalks coming up, and this one in the back that was totally dead. Ta-da! So those are coming up. Let's go look at the other ones. All right, so we've got this fluffy guy. So that one was new and came up. And then we've got this little fluffy guy here. The big one kind of died off. You see that laying there. And then here, this did die off, but yep, that's a new stalk right there. Woo! And this one, look how, this is a big old fluffer now. Look at that. And here, although this one died, this is an asparagus stalk. And here, this one died, but we have one there, two stalks there. And this one, see the new stalk coming up? Very excited about this. These don't look like too much, do they? Well, this is why I wanted to start with the asparagus. Last year, at the end of the season, I think it was Superstore, they had stuff marked down like crazy, crazy marked down. And I got a package. It was in a box. So it looked like, just like a teeny little box, like the size of 2 tubes of toothpaste together maybe. And it was asparagus. Anyways, when we opened up the pack this year, my husband was like, oh, these are no good. These are totally done. They're like dried right out. I said, let's just put them in some water just to see. And I will show you, do you see what is happening? So we just kind of put them in here and forgot about it. And there's more coming up on this one here. We forgot about them. We forgot about them. And then one day we were walking by and we were like, oh my gosh, there's asparagus coming out of here. So we need to get these in the ground ASAP. And if not in the ground, at least in buckets covered in soil. It's exciting. This is exciting. I just can't stop looking at them. It has been raining so much here. You can see the splash up on all of the buckets. I'm not sure. I've been feeding the branches through as they are getting big enough to come up the top, but it feels like every time I come out here, they are back down again, so they need to get a little bigger, but the plants all seem really droopy. All of the tomato plants, of course, this one looks pretty good right now, but they all seem really, really droopy, and I don't know if it's because it's just been raining so much and there's just so much water. Like, look at this leaf. Just really droopy. We did Google it. There's a bunch of different reasons. Underwatering, overwatering, plant fungus, blight, all kinds of stuff. But I just never really noticed it en masse before until that one's looking better. I don't know. Oh, look. Dee. Here we have the beginnings of a baby cherry tomato. Oh, here's another one right here. Baby cherry tomato. So the tomatoes, I don't want to say they're looking good. I'm a bit concerned. The plants are getting bigger. They just feel very, very droopy. So any feedback that anyone might have, I'm certainly welcome that. We are at the pumpkin patch, the cabbage patch, and the onions. And I don't know, maybe I should look up whether onions are not good companions for pumpkins, because cabbages are looking good, getting bigger. Onions are doing very well. We did Google perhaps what is happening, why the pumpkins are turning yellow, that the plants don't seem to be that big. Well, the handsome one Googled it, and he seems to believe it's a lack of nitrogen. So we have started aggressively putting our coffee grinds into here to kind of boost the nitrogen in the pots. And just the plants don't really seem to be getting any bigger. I don't know if you can see here. Don't really seem to be getting any bigger than what they were. But cabbage is good, thumbs up, and onions, thumbs up. And I actually used one of the green onions in a recipe this week. I know I shouldn't be picking them yet, but I was tempted and I did it. The really hard rain has had a massive, massive impact on the Swiss chard. It's very damaged. It's not looking great. However, the peas, which we moved over here, we were planning on attaching these peas to the side of the deck like the bush beans. So those are bush beans. We had initially thought that those would run up and attach onto the railings here, but they're not going to do that because they're just bush beans. Anyways, the peas cannot be attached to that because we filled the buckets and put the planters and put the peas in first. And now we can't get the drill into them to fasten them to the side. So they are going to have to live here for now. Mint and chives, looking good. I don't really think these need much attention whatsoever. Those little sweet million cherry tomatoes are really starting to grow since we got them into their individual pots that were a bit bigger. I mean, if possible, if we can get them into even bigger pots, that would be great, but we do want these ones to live on the deck. you see I have them moved away. I did have them pushed right up against the railing there, but I came out the other day, and the very brief amount of sun that we were getting, they were in a little spot of shade. So I just pulled them out so that they were in the direct sun. I thought that would be good for them. We previously had plants running up both sides of the stairs, but I didn't like that, so we've made some changes. And now we have here the broccoli and the jalapeno and hot peppers. So it's the only thing that is on the side of the stairs, each in their own individual container. Of course, like you see all of the residue, it's been raining really heavy. But what you can see here is I wanted to make sure that we got the plant pots and those little fabric pots, and we have company, so Graybeard is just going crazy, off of the actual steps. We don't want them staining the steps or making spots on the existing stain on the steps. So they are on little boards, and those boards are just removable. And that was thanks to the Handsome one. I cleaned up this little area. I previously showed the shelf that the Handsome one made. So down here now, the only thing still on the ground are the green peppers, and you can see my potato succession planting. So this big plant here, so you see the one in the back, this is going to be ready before the other ones. We planted these 2 containers 2 weeks after this first one here. So again, hoping to be able to harvest in succession, not all at the same time. And then up here, my celery, which we've never grown before, is just growing really, really well. The zucchini is growing really well here. No hint of any zucchinis yet. And then over here, the cucumbers are really, really starting to come around. Really happy with the change in them. And you can see here that we are starting to even grow up the tree, and some of they're starting to attach here. I'm happy about that. Looks really good. And then when we look at everything on the stand, we do need to move some things around. So in the back here, we've got eggplant, and you can see like something is really, really interested and eating the leaves. Like this leaf, look at that. So we're not sure what that is, but we need to figure out what that is. So the eggplants are in the back, and then we have broccoli here, and then in the back, more broccoli. And I just want to make a comment, how important it is to get your seedlings out of those little 6-pack cells as soon as possible. This one here and these 2 came out and were in bags, in the grow bags. I am going to say at least 2 weeks before, maybe 7 to 10 days, not fully 2 weeks. And look how small the ones that remained in the cell are. And I need to pull back these for you to see how much smaller. We actually got 7 in that 6-pack cells compared to the ones that we got out much earlier and into the bigger pots. So big difference. And the squash is just going crazy. So what have we got here? This is zucchini. Yay! We're getting a zucchini. And I noticed down here we are getting a little squash, so that's great. And I'm pretty sure there's one more squash, yep, hidden right in here. So we've got squash. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, we have those broccolis in behind. The celery here and the squash leaves are so big, they are blocking it. So either they're going to have to come off totally and sit on the ground, or we're going to have to rearrange this whole area to make it so that they can get just as much sun, or I don't think they're going to grow well. It has been pouring out for 2 days straight now. I am going to be seeing my folks today, and so I brought in the plants that are going to her, set them in the sink to hope dry them out, and I'm really dismayed. Like, it is raining so much that some of the leaves are starting to actually rot. I don't know how to fix that. I'm pinching off what I can. Even some of the tomatoes, like it's just a lot of water. We have a lot of water, a lot of water. We dropped off the plants that I had for my parents yesterday, and some exciting stuff happened. They had some extra pots or containers that they've used for pots in the past that they're not using. We are going to use these ones, and they already had holes drilled in these. We're going to use those ones because they are about double the size that we have the cherry tomatoes that are on the deck. So we're going to swap those over, and then we'll be able to use, these are old ice cream containers that my dad has used in the past for tomatoes. And we are going to be able to get those cherry tomatoes, the new ones that I got, the purple zebra cherry tomatoes, into those, and also the last couple gold pear tomatoes that I kept, and just give us some other pots for anything else that we might have needed. So really happy. Thanks, Mom and Dad. So this will make a big difference. The little cherry tomatoes will go into pots twice the size. Those are the purple zebra cherry tomatoes, and that is 3 golden pear tomatoes that will go into those buckets. We are going to get this strawberry mint into this nicer plant pot that came from my mom, and that'll keep it contained, and also it'll be a little bit of a decoration. The handsome one has been very busy. He got all of the cherry tomatoes from the smaller pots into the bigger, smaller pots. They're still smaller pots, but they'll do much better in these. Sizing up, looking good. He also planted there's the specialty cherries. Purple zebras are in a little row right here. And these are more of the yellow pears. This is looking good. The back ones are still wilty, but I feel like they're coming around a little bit since the rain. I mean, it hasn't stopped. It's still extremely heavy dampness in the air, but hopefully they recover with some sun, and we are supposed to get sun tomorrow and the day after. Good, strong sun, so I have hope. We've got the celery, the succession planting celery, over here with the pumpkin patch and the cabbage patch for now. So hopefully those, we can bring those around. A couple of them, like this one that's got a really good nice stalk, but then a yellow one. So I'm sure now that they're in their own pots that those will do a lot better. And here is my strawberry mint with my regular mint and my chives. That looks great too. I'm just going to turn the pot so the tag is at the back. Yeah, looking great. So you've seen everything. Everything is looking good. My only concern are those tomatoes that are wilty and the pumpkins. Everything else seems to be okay. I know the Swiss chard is haggard, but that is 100% because of the rain. If the Swiss chard was more mature, it would have been able to handle the heavy rain a lot better than what those tender shoots did. I would love your feedback. We are trying to fix what we think is wrong with the pumpkins, and that is a lack of nitrogen. So we are already working on that. If you have suggestions other than that, I'd love to hear them. And I really would like to know what your thoughts are on the tomatoes that just look so droopy. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you are enjoying this process, and stick with me for an update in another week.